Hi everyone, welcome back to EMAS Sports and the Beyond and the Bases podcast. Today's guest is Nick Rotolo. Hello, Nick.
How are you?
Good, good. It sounds like you've had a busy baseball season between the 100 innings, the Mariners, as well as the Northborough Cardinals, excuse me. Um, and so I can't wait to get right into things.
Cool. Sounds good.
All right, well, let's start with the most recent thing. So last month you participated in the 100 innings game for Team First Base. What does it mean to you to be part of such a big event that raises now over $1 million for ALS research? And how did you get started?
Uh, it means a lot. It's definitely one of my favorite days of the year. Um, and anybody who knows me knows that, and my wife knows that. And it means a lot. It's obviously a great charity. It's a terrible illness that needs a lot of research. So this is but one way that we can help sort of provide some funds. So in that regard, it means a tremendous a lot. As far as the baseball side of things, I think this was my 900th inning, so 9 years. Yeah, my because we missed a year for COVID, so I joined in 2015. I didn't know about this game. I just got an advertisement from Brett Rudy and the league and thought, hey, this is great. I'll show up. Looks like I can show up at any time and play as many innings as I want. I showed up and I ended up staying the full 100. And from then on, it was just going to be the goal to do that. And um, so 9 years or so playing in this league, it's been great. I look forward to it. It gets bigger every year in terms of I think the players who show up, there's a bit more every year, but also the setup. It used to be just a bunch of guys and girls around the sidelines with chairs. Now we've got it's like a tailgate, and we got a camp, we've got tents, we've got smokers, grills. We're making food all day, so it's become a huge event, and it's great to be a part of.
Yeah, and I mean, there's so many great stories and people that are obviously affected by it. Rich Kennedy, Walter Benson, kind of being to the big names there. But are there any specific stories, either players that you play with, or Walter or Rich, that kind of stand out to you and kind of help motivate you to pitch as long as you've had? Because, like you said, you've been doing this for 9 years now.
Yeah, Walter, certainly. I didn't know him before all of this, obviously, and his story is inspirational, and it's great to go back and see him every year, right? Um, I'm a psychologist, so over my career, I've worked with individuals who have had ALS, or I've worked even more so with families and the community. So I'm more involved in that regard um, as a therapist. As far as going to the game, I've got some friends who have been personally affected by ALS, including, a friend of mine, Jay Hussey, who I really care about. So, um, I try, obviously I'm going to go anywhere, but I want to be there in support of some of those guys and people who have, been close to this disease.
With the game lasting obviously 24 hours, what kind of snacks or food keep you going? Obviously, I think Angie and Zach, when I had them last time, they talked about certain foods. I forget exactly what it was, and people can go back and watch that video. I'll leave it in the description, and at the end of the video as well. But what kind of snacks or food keep you going? Because that's a long time to be pitching or to be playing and pitching. So, what kind of foods keep you going?
It's gotten bigger in the 9 years that I've been there. So like I remember the first couple of years it was, Dunkin' Donuts getting delivered every 4 or so hours and then Domino's getting delivered every couple of hours. So that's basically what we had. But over the years, everybody's bringing their own stuff. I think, there's like 10 or 15 of us on the first base side who are all friends and we play on the same teams and same league. And we start kind of like figuring it out about a month in advance on a group text. So I'm always bringing, like I'm a child, I'm always bringing chips and handy snacks and protein bars and, you know, bubble gum and, I'll bring sodas and waters and Gatorades. And so I've got a bunch of full coolers. And then we'll kind of decide between the 10 or 15 of us, okay, who's got the hot dogs? We'll bring a bunch of hot dogs. We're going to bring a bunch of sausages, burgers. Um, this year, the past 2 years, one of my friends on the Mariners brought his smoker, so he's doing ribs. He's doing, you know, uh, chicken wings. It gets bigger. So, we have pretty full spread every year. From snacks that the kids are going to eat, but all the way up to full meals all day and all night long.
And obviously, another aspect of that too is, with the game lasting as long as it is, like I said, over 24 hours, almost until noon the next day, if not longer. How does your approach on the mound and hitting wise change throughout the game with it being that long?
Well, I don't pitch much anymore. I was a pitcher primarily growing up and going through college, but I don't pitch much at this age because I physically I'm run down. But how does my But when I do pitch, I have to really warm up, right? So like I'll usually go in sometime around, 10 p.m. or something like that if I do pitch. And for me, it's a lot of warm up. So it's stretching, it's, band workouts, it's staying loose, it's throwing because I just tend to get really tight quickly. The game really beats you up if you're staying there all day or even if just playing a few hours. So, hitting wise, I got to be honest, I'm not the world's best hitter. So, I'm using that 100 inning game as just an opportunity to get at bats, right? So I bat from both sides of the plate. So, I'm really sort of like trying to figure out on any given at bat, what am I quicker with today? What's getting me to the ball faster? Sometimes it's not my swing from the right side of the plate, it's loopy. So, okay, I'm going to switch over to the left side of the plate. So that's basically how I approach hitting. It's never been my strength. I'm more of a defensive player and a pitcher.
Okay, and then obviously one aspect of playing in this game is you get to play with a lot of different players from all around the league and all around other leagues in Boston too. So is there a coach or player that you look forward to or have looked forward to playing with or against that you normally wouldn't see during the regular season with the BMBL?
Well, you name Zach and Angie. They're always on the third base side, and they've been there, 100 innings every year since I've been playing. So at least the past 9 years, I didn't know them beforehand, but I've gotten to talk with them a little bit over the years. They're just great people. There's a lot of great, people on their side that I really don't know. But over the years have at least gotten to know their name. On my side, the first base, you know, my friends, Kevin O'Leary is one of the guys that's been in the league forever, and he's the manager of the Mariners, and he's just a great guy to be around. Um, a guy that I don't get to see or play against a lot is Mike Terrio and he's played in a bunch of teams. I think he's got more uniforms than anybody, but he's playing on Alabrandi's in the 38s. He's a great guy, and he's kind of known for showing up at the 100 innings around 10 p.m. and sticking around until 6 a.m. So he's in the overnight crew, and to me, he just seems like a guy who loves baseball as much as I do. I mean, I love baseball as much as anything. And he comes in around 10 and he just brings the energy and he brings the enthusiasm and he doesn't stop playing. So he's obviously a great guy to see and reconnect with. And I like being around people who love playing ball. So, and then I have a bunch of friends on the first base side from all the teams that have been on Ryan Beret, Jay Hussey, Steve Robb, all of these guys that, Brett Rudy that I've gotten closer with all, and I didn't know any of them when I joined this league. So it's been great to continue to meet more people and to catch up every year.
Yeah, I was gonna say between all the playoff games, the 100 innings, all the other events. I mean, the winter ball game as well is another great example. You get to meet so many people from so many different walks of life. That's one of the best things that I've loved about being a part of this league for as long as I have since 2021. So I'm sure you agree with that too, with all the people that you've met across your playing time.
Oh yeah, yeah. Yeah, so many people and knowing nobody when I started, 10 years ago.
Mm. Well, just kind of looking forward to the future. What does the future of the 100 innings game look like for you? And if you plan to play again, what motivates you to keep coming back? And for anyone watching who might want to join, why should they?
I'm gonna play until I die. I'm gonna play until my the wheels fall off, and I'm going to continue to play show up for all 100 innings. That's the goal. Um, I joke with people, I'll never run a Boston Marathon. I'll never run a marathon. I don't want to. Um, and I don't have that ability, but I can play ball forever. As long as my body holds up. So I'll always be, like I said, I look forward to this day every year. We're all trying to sort of win games on our respective teams and leagues. I'm trying to also stay healthy for the 100 inning game, and people know that because it's a great cause. It's a 24 plus hours of baseball, very leisurely, and you're with your friends. So I'll be playing forever. We're always a little bit worried every year whether we're going to get the turnout. And there's a lot of guys. I think we've seen more players coming in over the past 3 years, but it gets a little bit sort of thin, between midnight and 6 a.m., right? And so you're really just hoping that you have nine guys on the side to hold on and keep the game going. We try every year. Brett Rudy does a great job marketing and sort of like getting the word out about this game, and we do on our teams. So on our respective teams, I'm always trying to get new guys to play. People have families and lives that keep them. I frankly don't know why anybody wouldn't want to do this, but I think some people think that we're crazy for, committing 24 to 38 hour, 30 hours on the ball field. So, I promote it as a great event and really, really fun. And what better time could you ask for than to just chill out with the guys and the ladies for a full day you know? and not have the game feel so friggin' stressful, right? We're not there trying to win championships. We're not there trying to be elite. There's all different levels of competition, and that's fine. You play as much as you want or as little as you want, and some of the pressure that I think we experience as ball players throughout our life to win, to come out on top, to grind. I think those pressures are gone for a day. At least they are for me, and it's just a game.
I was gonna say, I couldn't have said it better myself. I mean, it's bigger than baseball, but it's also just for the love of baseball too.
Yeah, yeah.
All right. Well, like I said, you couldn't have ended that segment better than I could have imagined you saying that. So we'll move on to your BMBL time. So outside of the 100 innings, you play one of the teams you play for is the Northborough Cardinals, who of course have lost the last 3 years to the Metro West Orioles during their four-peat. So how frustrating is that to be on the wrong side of history in that 4P? And what's the key to changing your fortunes in that and knocking the Orioles, who are a very good team, out of being champions?
It sucks. Excuse me. It's horrible. The Orioles are great, and in the Metro West, there's fewer teams. It's harder to sort of really get a lot of great teams because it's further from Boston, if you ask me. But the Orioles are great. They got a ton of good players. They have a pipeline where it feels like they all have connections for more players. Um, but that being said, we're evenly matched. And, we can beat them and they can beat us. And last year, for example, it was a series that could have not this past year, 2 years ago, was a series that very easily could have gone either way. It was lost by, a play here or there. There was no blowouts. So I think where we lack is the pitching. We have Andy Quinn, who, if you ask me, is one of the best pitchers that I've ever, played with in this league and across all the different sort of ages. So he's great. We had a new guy, Matty, this year that played with us, and he was first time in this league, younger guy, and he was pitching great all year. And then he uh, literally broke his arm in the semifinals this year. Just it was traumatic. It was horrible. Um, so he's out, and then it's me. And, like I said, I'm a little bit older now. It's harder to pitch. It's a 7 inning game is really difficult. My body's tired. My arm isn't what it used to be, especially pitching, and also playing the infield. So, I do what I can to sort of stay fresh, but it's hard. So I think the point is recruiting more pitching, right? Pitching wins games, and aside from that, you know, we're neck and neck. We're evenly matched with the Orioles. I'll put our bats against theirs any day of the week. And a lot of guys on that team are my friends, and we're cool, but we're also competitive. So we'll get them, and it's probably going to be next year.
Fair enough. And like I said, Chris does a great job with them on that side, and it's
Amazing.
I'm glad to be able to get your point of view on this too, because I wanted to interview more players from as many teams as possible, and so I'm glad to be able to have this opportunity. And I mean, anything can happen any given year, right?
Yeah, yeah. So we're already looking forward to it. We're already recruiting. I'm sure they are too. It just doesn't stop, and we'll be ready to go.
Okay. And then from your perspective, last year you had a 6-1 record with the Cardinals, 2.01 ERA. So obviously, I know you're not pitching as much as you used to. But what was the key to that kind of success last year?
Working out. Doing what I have to do in the gym, which I go all the time, and doing, the small workouts like the band workouts to keep my arm fresh and icing. Um, Doing all the small things that I have to do to try and stay healthy, which is harder and harder these days. I had a good year last year. A lot of that is having a good team and having a good defense. Um, but it's the small work. And when I'm on, I'm not the hardest thrower, but I can get outs and I have good um breaking balls, and I'm fine. It's just staying healthy, which is getting more difficult.
Okay, and then for the Cardinals as well, Sims Highs, which I hope I'm saying this name
Yeah.
correctly, won Sportsman of the Year for the Cardinals. What was your reaction to that? And do you have a favorite story of him?
Well, Sims is one of my best friends, and he got me into the league. Sims and I have been friends for about 20 years, and we worked together for 5 or 6 years. And um, I don't think he liked me at first. right? But we quickly became friends, and I think we became friends because of baseball. So he got me into the league back in 2011, and that was when we played for the Brewers. I don't think it was part of the MSBL, or loosely affiliated. So we played for 3 years there. So one of my best friends, well deserving of the award. He's a kind dude. He'll always show up for you, and he's well deserving. And I'm sorry, what was the other part of the question?
Did you have a favorite story of his that, or just from any of your time together?
I've got a million, and some of them I'm not going to tell, but yeah, from baseball. Um, the funny stories is that I feel like we go through the same things. Like we joke about the fact that we're in our mid 40s now, and catching a fly ball all of a sudden seems to be the trickiest thing to do in baseball, right? And so, we're always sort of ragging each other because of that. But one of the funniest stories of Sims is, I don't know, he was pitching. This was several years ago. He was pitching. I think he hit four or five batters in a row. And, there's guys from the other team, pissed off and wanting him out of the game. And Sims had enough to him. He turns to the dog. He said, God, give me a break. I'm a good guy. Um, and then another one is he's in, and Chris Curry knows about this. We talked about it the other week. As Sims is on the mound pitching against the Orioles, and they're talking junk to him from the dugout. So Sims is in mid windup, and he goes to throw the ball, and instead of throwing it home, he fires it right at the dugout, right at the Orioles. Calls a ball, wasted a pitch, whatever. So it's things like that. Again, I have a lot of memories with Sims that are on the baseball field, but um, extend well beyond that for, 20 years. And he's as deserving of that award as anyone has been in this league. It just, like I said, I've never been a hitter. So in terms of speaking about hitting, I'm certainly not the expert, but they're just unbelievable hitters. Tim, I've been playing with for years now. To me, he's got incredible bat speed and incredible power, and he's selective. There's not a lot of at bats in the season, right? So like it's very easy to slump for an entire year. He just doesn't really do that. He picks out a good pitch, and he's got amazing bat speed, and he's got some of the best power in the league. He might have the best power in the league. And Jeff, the same thing. I mean, they both got great power. They're brothers, great bat speed, um, and discipline. I mean, they're both, Jeff brings the batting backstop to the games. And so they're doing T work before games and during games. They excel at hitting, you know?
Yeah, makes sense. And then
You got
obviously
it.
another name you talked about earlier, Andrew Quinn as well. Um, 8-1 on the 8-1 record this year, including the postseason. So do you have a favorite outing of his that stands out?
Andy's been the best pitcher in the league for about 10 years, and or since he's joined the league. Um, a best outing, I mean, we've won a lot of games. So I guess the most memorable outing for me would be our championship. We won back in 2019, right before COVID, beating the Orioles. Um, and I'm not one to remember all the details of the game, but he won us the championship, right? So he was our top pitcher that year. He's been the top pitcher in the league since. He's a good hitter as well. For some reason, he's got terrible form. I mean, he hits the ball the opposite field, but um, he's just a great all-around ball player.
Okay, and then you've also played for the South Shore Giants, the Metro Gators, which I believe is a CABL, South Shore Mariners. So you've been around a while and played for quite a few different teams. Sorry, not to age you or anything. Um,
Yeah.
but do you have a favorite game or memory from any of those teams I just mentioned that we haven't talked about yet?
Again, it's hard. I don't. I sit with a lot of guys who seem to remember every out, every play, every game, and I'm not like that. I had a great 100 inning game this year, right? Out of all games. I pride myself, like I said, I'm not a great hitter. I'll slump for an entire year. Um, Pitching, I've gotten older, but I can play defense reliably and well, and I could play anywhere on the field. So I had a great 100 inning game. I didn't make an error. I made a ton of plays. And when you're dragging in the 80th inning and you can't move 5 feet, that's a pretty good outing. Um, so yeah, I that's one of the most memorable. But with the Mariners, or I'm just thinking of, I don't know. A good game for me is a game where I play well defensively, turn a double play, make no errors, and I don't make a lot of errors. But if I can turn a double play, if I'm making all the plays that come to me, surprise, if I catch a fly ball, then Sims and I can have a laugh because we caught one. Um, so I take those with me and I'll stay up all night and think about, wow, that was fun. I still got it. But winning the championship was great. The Cardinals, we won in 2019, and then I moved over to the Royals, which you didn't mention, 2020. And we won two championships in a row. So I won three championships in a row with, 2021 and 22. So those were really great
In
years.
terms of any pitching performance or even batting performance in the postseason this year or otherwise, have you had a favorite pitching or batting performance that you've seen in any of your time in the league in the postseason that's kind of stand out?
Not for myself, for anybody.
Yeah, this could be any postseason performance of all time, either this year or otherwise, that really stands out for you.
Pitching performances, I guess. Again, just to name him again, Andy Quinn. He's just a great pitcher, right? And so pretty much every outing he has is top notch, right? He doesn't miss. He's got great command. He's got a great curveball. Um, he doesn't walk a lot of guys, and he's overpowering. So I mean, I've seen a lot of games in the playoffs and regular season where he steps up. And another guy who I don't think he didn't play this year, but had been in the league for a while was Chris Dion. Another lefty pitcher that I played with, a friend of mine from the Royals for a couple of years, and he was dominant too, right? I mean, I would say Dion and Quinn were, two of the best pitchers in the league, and both lefties, both great command. Dion did great I mean, he was one of our main pitchers on the Royals, so couple championships in a row that he was, pretty responsible for. I think he's just a great all-around ball player. I love being on his team. I've gotten to know him pretty well over the past couple of years. Um, as a pitcher, I like catching him because he's got great command. And he can locate his fastball well, and he's got a great slider, and he's got a great change in curveball. So he's got four pitches that when he's locating, he's just as good as anybody. And as a defender, I mean, as a hitter, he's great, right? So he's got power, he's got consistency. Um, he's just a great hitter. I love playing shortstop. He plays short, and I'll play second. And I like being on the field with him at the same time, turning double play. But he's positive. He's quiet, is what I've learned, right? He's not incredibly loud or vocal or anything like that, but he's a kind guy. He's quiet, and he just does his job. And he's there to play ball. And he battled through an injury this year, and had the itch and obviously wanted to get back on the field and did, and he always kind of comes through, you know.
Okay. And I mean, this question I really love asking anybody, and I've asked this to basically everyone who I've interviewed this year. If you had to pick one former or current MLB player to join the Cardinals or the Mariners, dead or alive, who would you pick and why?
I was going to say Pedroia, but he plays second, and that's pretty much what I'm playing now. But I could switch over to third. So, but I mean, sure, Shohei. If we had Shohei, I mean, we'd beat the Orioles, and it actually wouldn't even be close. And, you know, so that's an obvious answer. But Pedroia's, a guy that I loved since he when he came into the league. He was, an underdog. He worked as hard as anyone, and if you ask me, a little bit underrated in terms of what he brought to the game. Um, One of the best second basemen that I've ever watched.
And future Hall of Famer. I mean, he should be in the Hall of Fame already. If he's not already, if I don't think he's in the Hall of Fame, but he should
Out of
be.
the Hall of Fame, and if you ask guys who, a lot of people aren't putting him in the Hall of Fame because he doesn't rack up the numbers. To me, uh, Hall of Fame is can be a little bit more than just numbers. You know, I don't know that I've watched baseball my whole life. Nobody's played as hard as Dustin Pedroia. Nobody was as meaningful to the team and to the game as Dustin Pedroia has been. So, it's very easy, I would imagine, as a pro to, you know, get distracted by fame or money or anything else. He didn't ever seem that way. He seemed like he was there to compete every day. And so, uh, I think that's Hall of Fame worthy.
Yeah, and speaking of Hall of Fame, we had a new Hall of Fame class come in for the BMBL this year as well. So what was your reaction to all the nominees this year? And did you have any favorite battles or have you played with any of them? Because there's quite a few names on this list, and I'll put a picture over this or get Dan to give me a picture of all of them. But I will definitely put that over there. But yeah, what was your reaction to them? And did you have a favorite story or have a favorite memory of any of them?
I don't I don't have any memories, unfortunately, about playing with any of them, right? And I don't know them all personally. I know Teddy. I mean, everybody does. I've played against him. I've seen him play. I've followed him, on social media. I mean, the dude plays like 180 ball games a year, right? Like, or at least he has, right? I mean, he's a former pro ball player. He's just amazing. I've seen him catch, I've seen him hit, and uh, he's an amazing ball player. So I don't know the other guys, and I can't say that I know Teddy incredibly well. I've met him the first year that I played in the 100 inning game way back in 2015, and he was welcoming to me. And here's a guy that's probably the best ball player on the field. So a good guy and obviously well deserving. The guy's got tremendous talent still. I don't even know how old he is. He's 40, but you know.
Yeah, it just gives me more people to interview. So I'll definitely. It sounds like they're gonna all have great stories of their own. So I will try to get them on here. If not this year, next year. And I've been trying to get Teddy on here for a while, so hopefully I can get him at some point.
Yeah,
He's busy, especially during the season, so I'll have to get him in the off season.
right.
But all right, yeah. So just to switch topics for a second, what will be the biggest key for you on the Mariners and the Cardinals to winning championships in 2026 and beyond when you have teams like the Orioles, the Bulls, and the Cardinals, uh, or sorry, not the Cardinals, but Orioles and Bulls standing in the way?
Uh the Mariners it feels like it's just it feels like it's just a bigger league. There's a ton of great competition in that league. Um, so, I mean, pitching, right? More consistent pitching, more power pitching. Um, we've got some guys, and if we can just get the best out of them, uh, we'll be fine. I think we underperformed a little bit this year. We started off pretty good. Won a series in the playoffs against a good team in Alabrandy. So we got it. We just got to sort of, put it together, week in, week out. You could always add more pitching, right? I don't think any team would not take more pitching. The Cardinals, it's the same thing. I mean, we've got a good team. I think we can take them. I feel like it's us and the Orioles. There's some other teams coming up in the Metro West, like the Nationals, who were, really good this year, and supposedly some new teams coming in. Um, and we'll just see what the competition is. We can take the Orioles, and that's no disrespect to them. I love them all. They're a great team. They're obviously incredibly talented. We got Quinn. He can pitch. Um, Sims and I can pitch. If I need to sort of train and rehab and try and get back on the mound, then I'll do that next year. But like I said, it's I feel like the championship could go either way between us and the Orioles. So we'll add an arm this year, and then we'll be back facing them next year.
Okay, and
I
then
sound
final.
arrogant or confident?
No, no. I mean, you have to have confidence. I
Yeah,
mean, and plus, you're doing this for the love of baseball, obviously, is what it sounds like, and obviously wanting to win as well, which kind of goes right into my last question. Do you have any personal or team goals that you want to accomplish? And how long, I guess, I mean, you talked about you wanted to keep going until, I think you said until you die.
yeah.
Um, which I mean, like I said, baseball is so much fun. So, do you have any personal or team goals that you want to accomplish that you haven't accomplished yet?
Um, I want to stay healthy. I want to be able to play ball as long as I can. And I've been able to play a long time now. I'm 45 now, and so I'm starting to really feel that in my joints, in my elbow, and my knees. So my goals these days are to stay healthy and get through the season. So um, I work out, I train all off season. I think I'd like to obviously become a more consistent and reliable hitter. Um, so what I need to do is commit a little bit more in the off season to hitting off the tee and actually getting some work done in the batting cages. Um, so that's a goal, right? I'm not gonna hit home runs. I'm not gonna hit 600. But if I can bat around 350, if I could hit 400 again, then that's a good enough year for me. But again, it's stay healthy. Um, you know, I want to be able to have a strong enough arm to where I can play. Obviously, I can play second and first, but to where I can continue to catch, continue to play third if needed. So, yeah, my body's wearing down, but and I will play for as long as I can. I think I'll be playing into my 60s. I think if these leagues are still around, and we need to continue to grow these leagues. So, yeah. But the championship, sure, we want to win the championship. I think we can probably do it next year. And if we don't, I think we'll do it next year. And we have a solid team. This year for the Cardinals was the best group of guys, one of the best teams that I've ever played on in my entire life. And so I hope we're all coming back. And I could say the same thing about the Mariners. Great group of guys. So stay healthy. Um, and show up to play with these guys. It's really all I'm after. And the rest, it will take care of itself.
Okay, and then final message to anyone watching, why should they come down and watch BMBL games next season and beyond?
Because it's something nice to do on a Sunday morning. It's like, the Sunday morning games are great because it's a good environment. It's a good atmosphere, right? It's competitive, but it's not like playing college ball where there's so much at stake and you got a coach breathing down your neck. It's a bunch of guys and some girls, but it's a bunch of people that are still playing the game that they love. They bring their own pressure and competitiveness. We don't need a manager or coach to rally the team. So I mean, it's a great afternoon. There's nothing better than baseball. The other teams, play at night. It might be a little bit more difficult to get to, but still, you go out and see a ball game for an hour or two. And there's a lot, I get asked a lot whenever we talk about this. It's people think it's a beer league, or people think it's you play softball? No, it's not softball. Is it a beer league? And the impression is that we're a bunch of stiffs and hacks, old dudes playing ball. There's so much competition, and there's an awful lot of tremendously good ball players that still look like they're in their peak. They still hit the ball 400 feet, right? They still throw 85 miles an hour. So it's good baseball. So I'm glad I found the league. I've been doing it for about whatever 15 years now. I'm going to continue. I've made a lot of great friends, and that's probably most important. And the atmosphere is great.
Get there, oh, you're in. Yeah, nice. Oh. Tighten the skirt, Sienna. Attaboy. Woo.
I got a good cut though.